Welcome to Parking Talks. With our airport parking network event taking place in less than a week, we will be taking a look at current and upcoming trends in the airport parking industry. Joining the discussion, we have Andy from Car and Away, Ben from Parkvia, Ed from Parking Sense, and Arne from Parkos. Ben, what do you think is driving airport parking trends?
That's a really big question. So for us, one of the things that we see is that consumers are getting more and more sophisticated and consumers are getting more and more demanding. That's not something that's being driven by airport parking or even the aggregators in airport parking. That's being driven by wider technological advancements. So your consumers are used to buying from Amazon, they're used to shopping with a 1 or a 2-click purchase, and they bring that sort of level of demand and that level of expectation of experience when they're shopping for airport parking. So we have an increasingly demanding consumer, and then there's obviously other sort of technological threats that are coming into airport parking, looking at ride sharing in particular. What this has done and what this will continue to do is increase the level of sophistication that's required in airport parking to keep going effectively. It's a major threat, but it's also a major opportunity. It's something that we can see ourselves and other aggregators as well are tapping into.
And Andy, what are your thoughts on the impact of Uber?
Uber weren't around sort of 5 to 10 years ago, but now they are a prolific brand where people sort of go to first in order to trying to get from A to B. And a lot of that, obviously, and particularly in America, has come through the airport infrastructure. But with the increase in demand for those types of journeys, from the airport to downtown, puts pressure on infrastructure. So trying to configure access to support those is a question across everyone's minds. And I think it's all about trying to think how that works within the flows of all the other transportation demands. So I think from our internal sources, we recognize that Uber has taken a significant chunk of the rental market, which was typically one-way journeys from the airport to downtown. So it's more replacing, I guess, a mobility format with a new solution that probably works better for a customer than having to queue up and rent a car. They simply hail a ride and get downtown in an Uber.
Sounds as though the appeal of Uber lies in how easy the process is. Arne, how important a trend do you think frictionless parking is?
What we see is that people are really looking to make a reservation really, really easy. So the seamless booking is very important, and that's something what we as Parkos focus on. We see when people go online, they don't want to spend hours and hours looking for a parking spot. And people are always in a hurry. So we help them to make the parking spots booking easy and transparent.
Ben, do you agree with Arne about making the online booking process easier?
I think that's what we're going to see, particularly over the next 2 years, is a much quicker adoption of e-commerce technologies in particular and of marketing technologies in a broader sense. One of the other trends that we see coming up is voice, and it's actually not just voice, if I'm being honest. It's natural language processing as an interface, so basically voice and chatbots and methods of interfacing with machines that aren't just ticking boxes on a screen. Again, it's something that is coming from other sectors. It's coming from e-commerce. It's becoming more widely adopted, and as it becomes more widely adopted, it's more and more important for everybody to be aware of it and to be aware of how they can get the most out of voice, how they can even be in voice or be used in a chatbot.
And in terms of airport parking infrastructure, what impact does seamless parking have, Andy?
We're seeing, the whole point about a seamless capability to drive my car up and drop it quickly and go, is becoming more of the trend. And certainly there are airports in the UK that are developing their meet and greet services to be self-service. So I guess this puts less pressure on the airport on a resourcing capability and puts more flexibility on a customer to be able to drop their car, to leave their keys, and from the airport then to manage that capacity. Having access to the keys in the cars to block park it and park it more efficiently but without having the need to be there to receive the carrier. So I think that whole seamless parking experience is being driven through automation. I mean, one of the other exciting things that we've seen as a trend is how robotics can be used to help park cars and move cars behind the scenes. They're helping the management of those cars being moved, which makes you able to block park cars without having the keys. Now, this is new. I think it's innovative. It's out there and it's just starting to happen now. But again, it's trying to make as much use of the space, but getting around a problem where people don't want to leave their keys, but still their cars can be parked more efficiently.
Yeah, automation clearly has benefits for the customer and airport parking infrastructure. But are there any repercussions? Ed, what's your take on this parking trend?
So we're really in a golden age of civics at the moment, of civil infrastructure. And the parking experience today is very different to what it was 15 years ago. You know, we've got the ability to reserve parking spaces in airport parking online. We've got the ability to monitor those via security cameras. We can pay for it. And when you actually arrive at your building, we have lights that will show you how to find an empty parking space. So this is all very, very powerful. But these great benefits come with a real risk, and that risk is security threats. And already we're starting to see across the world a growth in cities being attacked by cyber terrorists. And an estimate last year is that 80 cities in the United States, so that's 80 cities in the United States, were attacked. And that's up from 53 the year before. You might think, well, how important is it to protect parking? Like what can happen with parking? And if you think about it, when we automate parking, we put inside gates or we put park systems or guidance systems, those things are built on hardware, but they're enabled via software. And more often than not, that software is connected to the internet. And as soon as something is connected to the internet, we have an attack surface. And so if you think about what could happen when people attacked and penetrated that, then they're able to, open gates or close gates and lock people into the building or prevent them from getting into the parking structure. They can change the sign to say something derogatory. They can also siphon off credit cards. So they can do a bunch of things like that, which are going to put you on the front page of the newspaper for all the wrong reasons.
Thank you all for joining Parking Talks today. Your insight into parking airport trends has given us a lot to discuss at our upcoming event. If you would like to hear more from Andy, Ben, Ed and Arne, you can catch them at our Airport Parking Network event, which will be taking place at London Heathrow from the 17th to the 19th of November. Register now at apne.parkingevent.com. Don't forget that the full discussion will be available to read soon on parking-net.com. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.